Okay, start recording instead of streaming. Son. Alright. Never mind. Now that I know that's a thing. What? No? You thought I observed thing. How silly of you. Alright. Okay, my buddy Aaron and I, we got this meme. It's like the little cartoon guy from Fallout doing this.
Oh my god, I know.
And right above it, it says, I literally live with a disorder that affects my memory. And we send that back and forth to each other all the time. So, no, of course I didn't observe things. Okay, here's the deal. Before we move on, we did not finish all of Chapter 2. We finished what was in the curriculum packet. I told you that this packet is the closest thing I could find to a intervention style, I struggle with math, just break it down to the bare bones and show me what to do curriculum. Okay, the stuff that I used to teach out of in other school districts, you just can't get it anymore. It's gone. It's gone the way of the dinosaur, and yeah, it had its problems, but it was better than this. Found out that Pearson just like AGS and Pacemaker are just gone. It's all online. They want to throw kids on Alex instead. So
What?
Alex is an online program. It is actually really good, but it completely removes the teacher from the equation. Like no teaching. It is all just videos and things. Like so.
So it is still teaching.
Oh, that's pretty much what we did last year now.
Yeah, that is.
We just watched videos.
That is quite. Isn't that kind of similar to what Skoglund did?
That is what I'm talking about.
So, okay. Everyone's got their own style, right? I don't like that because that's not my style. I want to explain the thing. I want you to ask the question. I want to write it 4 different ways. I want to show you things instead. This is not a perfect curriculum. That's why at the end of your packet, you have a couple of these just old worksheets. And these are different things that I know you need to practice before moving on. The very last thing that we left off with, I just let her buck all the time. I don't whatever. I'm not worried about the words at the bottom. Not yet. If you notice, if you flip forward just a page to 7, that does not exist in the packet itself, or maybe it's 2 pages, I don't know. 2.7 is all just words. We need to practice words. But before we can practice words and what they mean, what their translation is, you got to show me that you know how to do this.
Oh, God.
This is where we left off.
This is garbage right there.
Is she going to piddle on my floor? What's going on? Okay. What's really funny is when you get someone laughing that bad, then you just say anything random to them, and they start laughing even more. Wagon wheel! Okay. Was that thunk her head on the wall? Please tell me it wasn't her head on the wall. Okay, so these are 12 problems, not much. 12 problems of can you do this? This is where we left off. This was the last thing that we did before reviewing for finals. Does everyone have a calculator in front of them?
No, I shall go before.
Not your phone. You need a calculator.
Quit making me laugh, okay? I was starting to laugh and then I started crying. Oh my gosh.
Worm.
Like I do the best of the best for you.
Okay. Of those, Gavin, number one. No, you're not doing number one. You are going to tell me, because I know that some of you very well do not know how to do this.
I know how to do it.
I know.
Gavin, I want you to pick one of those 12 problems and tell me to do that one. We got to do some review here to make sure that we know what's going on before we start throwing words at it. Which one do I got to do, bud? 12 itself. Because, ew, fractions, right? Okay, those of you who feel you do not have enough room to write, some of you write really big. Some of you, your handwriting is suboptimal. Okay? So, if you feel like you do not have enough space here, do it in a separate notebook. Okay? Do it in a wide ruled notebook. Give yourself room to work. Okay? Kevin always does his on a separate sheet like that, and I love it because it's still labeled. I can still find everything, but yo, Kevin uses like a whole page for 3 problems. Tree's already dead. Honor its sacrifice, right?
Pretty much.
So if you need the space, use the space. If you don't have a notebook, if you don't have the paper, there's always scratch paper up there. Use what you need to. Here we go. Why'd you pick this one, Gavin? Scary. What's scary about it? What's scary about it? Fraction, okay? Fractions. We don't like fractions. Fractions are evil. Make them go away. If the fraction is the part that I don't like, what can I do to get rid of the fraction part? They are dividing by 5. I can multiply by 5. A very, very, very common error that I kept seeing, and maybe this is my fault for not showing that 5 as a fraction every time. How do I make 5 a fraction? Over 1. So these cancel. And I saw time after time after time kids canceling that and then distributing it. That's acting like you have 2 5s. That's like saying, you know what? I got this awesome personal pan pizza here, and I need to feed my little brother. So I'm going to eat this personal pan pizza, and then I'm going to feed my brother. You can't do that. You ate the pizza. It's gone. This cancels out. Yeah, unless you're going to baby bird him. Okay, it doesn't work that way. So, now that the 5 is gone, rewrite what we got. 4x minus 2 up top. What's negative 4 by 5? Yes, sir. Now, there was a good chunk of you who really liked that line, so I'm going to put that line through here. And I'm going to move this. I'm moving them over. I wanted to make sure it was lined up with the original. Okay, now that I got that, you look at each side, look at each half. Can I simplify either side?
Yes. No.
Like, this is just a negative 20, that's it. Can I put the 4x and the negative 2 together? Are they the same kind of term?
No.
No. Turtle, giraffe. Okay. So then I play the who's lonely game. Say that negative 20 is all by himself. He's lonely because he's lazy. You bring the date to him. Do you bring him a 4x or do you bring him a 2? Why do I add 2 instead of subtracting it? Why not multiply it?
Because you had to do the opposite.
This says minus 2. You are the ultimate turd. You do the opposite of what they did. Add 2. Oh no, I forgot how math works. Now Gavin knows what's going on. He says negative 18. Duh, I know this. How many of you accidentally say 22? Okay, it happens. Those little brain farts, they happen. Do you have your calculator on hand? I got a kid in my algebra half who she checks everything. She'll say it, and then she picks up the calculator and does it again, just to be sure. That is a heck of a skill. I'm not done yet. Bruh. Okay. Because the next step is, what is negative 2 plus 2? What is negative 20 plus 2? Negative 18, just like Gavin said. I literally wasn't there yet. You don't get to call that out.
We're gonna do it. I knew you were gonna do it.
Yeah.
Oh, all of the brownie points.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the red points are missing.
Yeah. You were going to do it. I literally knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. You're lucky that chair was there. Did you know I was going to do that? So, next one.
Next step.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take 4x, or just 4, and put a line under it, 4, that was 1,
Then why do I see kid after kid doing this on their test?
It's not very good.
What's the 4 doing to x? Multiplying, so we will divide. Yep. We gonna divide. So if I divide by this and I divide by this, that's supposed to be a positive. I don't know why I put negative. Oh, because I was making the point of don't do this. Okay. Now, Micah, you specifically said to do something over here with this. What?
put a 1 through it, or
Because this is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Don't zero it out. Don't X it out. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So put a 1. Negative 18 over 4. I have no idea what that is.
4.5.
No.
Negative 4.5.
Okay. All right. Fine. It was a terminating decimal. I'm fine with it. Whatever. It is negative 9 over 2. That's the way that I run, and everything else. It's a terminating decimal. Fine. I don't care. Now, what happens, though, if that was negative 18 over 7? You see that long chain of decimals that goes afterwards? That means I'm not allowed to write it as a decimal because I lost part of my answer. I just did this with my pre-calc this morning, a whole new batch of kids, and we're talking about the difference between the real answer and the almost answer. Okay? Right, Ryler? Okay? Close enough, right?
But I still responded to it.
Okay. Okay, you can't just say close enough. Okay? Sure thing, Sean. So, right? It just because it's close enough doesn't mean it's the real answer. Now, because I'm a smart ass.
Why?
So, I divided. Do I flip Pac-Man or not?
Yes.
Why not? You were pretty adamant about that. Why not?
Because if it was a negative, then
There it is. If I multiply or divide by a negative, then I flip it. Okay. Now the graph for that is just negative 4.5, solid or open or closed. Circle. Ooh, I heard both.
Close.
Fight.
More
Close.
There you go. More ink. More ink here, more ink there. Close the circle, left or right?
That would be right.
Right, because the arrow says you're going that way. X is greater. It is bigger, and that happens to the right, to the right. Okay. Oh, am I okay to do the thing? Smell good? Okay. I'm gonna get you, Shane. I'm gonna get you, Shane. Okay. No, I'm getting my die.
You're not going to get me. Please don't report.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. AJ, pick one.
Hold up. Let me check this out, AJ. I'll help you out.
What do you think, AJ? Which one am I doing? But I want you to all see, like number 12. Do you think you could do number 7 now?
No.
Same way.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same process.
So
Yes, number 1.
number 1 itself, because there's parentheses. Now you just said something. What did you just say? Disturbert. Every time that I see parentheses. Oh, also, I don't know about you, but I despise when they have 1 point to mean number 1. I've had kids distribute 1.2. That's an honest mistake though, right?
I would have done the same thing if I would have been caught.
Okay, that is an honest mistake. And honestly, if I saw a kid do that on test, I would give it to him in a heartbeat. I would absolutely give that to them. Like that was a mistake in the formatting of the problem.
Have you ever had one do that and actually
Yes.
get it correct?
Well, no, because they have a whole different value on there.
No. With the 1.2.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I gave them full credit. They showed that they know how to do the problem. They just misunderstood the labeling of it. Okay, you did say distribute, so y'all, please use the arrows. Use the arrows and show yourself the distribution. Because I'll see so many of you, number 1 problem I saw in that test.
It's not lined up. Here's the LCD.
Well, besides I want it to be lined up, what's wrong with this? It's supposed to be 6. I saw so many of you distribute correctly to the first one, but not the second. Distribute means everyone gets this. How would you feel if mom and dad come along and they give your sibling $10 for the basketball game, and they look at you and just walk away?
Get a job.
Now that's a depressing feeling.
Okay? And math is communist. What you do for one, you do for all. If you're going to distribute to everything in those parentheses. So I'm going to change this to a 6. And then valid question, and I've answered it before in here. What do you think? No, the group. Shane asked, can I change the T to an X?
Yes, you can.
It doesn't stand for anything specific in a word problem, so you go right ahead. I know T's look like pluses, S's look like 5s, Z's look like 2s. I understand. If you need to change it, change it. Okay, so maybe I come all the way back here, and we're going to do exactly that. Yes, sir. Do you think this is going to be a problem? Do you think this is going to in any way affect your learning? Do you think it's going to affect other people's learning?
It's not affecting mine. Here's a function.
So, don't make me move you. Can I simplify what's on either side? Can I put 2x and 6 together? 12x, right? Right. Okay. Play the Who's Lonely game, subtract 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. I haven't touched 2x, drop it. I haven't touched my inequality, drop it. 16 minus 6 is 10. Subtract 2, right? Divide by 2. It is hugged up on that x, it's multiplying, you divide them. Show me that this is 1. Show me that this is 5. And it doesn't equal 5. Well, it can equal 5. Keep Pac-Man the way he is or flip him?
Keep him.
Why?
There's no
I did not divide by a negative. Which means a closed circle at 5 to the right, to the right. Man, that die really likes you, Gavin. There we go. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kevin. Oh, I actually am going to veto that one because 7 looks a lot like 12, and I think we've covered that type. Pick a type that we haven't done yet. 8 and 4. 8 and 4 are both on the same wavelength, right? 8's got.
8 has decimals, so it looks.
Okay. Well, I'm doing.
Kevin didn't say 8.
I know.
Kevin said 4.
I'm doing 2 more. I'm doing 4 and whatever the next one is. So y'all get to decide. There you go. 4. Oh, almost.
Move it down a little bit. Whoa!
Y'all didn't know it did that?
No, I didn't know it did that.
Oh. No, we'll force choke dudes around the. Yeah, my game club kids do that at lunch just because they think it's fun. All right. Yeah. That's how I ended up in principal's office for kindergarten the first day.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ironically, her name was Jen Payne. So, what's the first thing I do? Distribute what?
1.
The negative
Uh, 8
to the y.
No. 1. 1.
Little invisible 1
Oh my god.
right up in there.
You're a genius.
Okay. Little invisible 1 in there, we distribute the 1. Be careful that it's a negative 1. So this hasn't changed. This hasn't changed. You see how I can't distribute the negative because there was a sign in between. If there's a sign in between, that's like, I don't know, I'm sitting right here and I want to hit Micah. I can't because AJ's in the way. Okay? No. AJ is in the way. I can't hit Micah if AJ's in the way. Well, I can't distribute 8 if there's a negative in the way. Negative 1 times y. Negative 1 times 14. Can I combine anything that are like terms on either side of that line? Okay, remember this old trick? Every time I run into a plus or a minus, it's a new term. And then it's just like sorting Legos, which boxes go together.
That 6y kind of looks like it says koi.
It does.
Huh.
Like
So these don't 6y plus 10 greater than. You said 8 and the negative 14 go together. Error I kept seeing was I would see a kid do this.
Yeah. It has to go
Why is that wrong?
because it does it have to go to the 10?
Remember, even an inequality is a balance. If you added 14 to this side and then added 14 to this side,
You almost caught that. That would have been sick.
that's what I was trying to do.
Yummy. Close.
Okay, you just add them together. They're the same type of critter. What is 8 minus 14?
Wait, Mr. Sullivan?
Hmm.
Is that supposed to be a positive 14?
Negative 4.
Negative 1.
Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
No.
Is it possible that
8 minus 14. Yeah, there's a big stapler back there. Negative 6. Okay, so negative 6 minus y. Is it okay to say negative y minus 6?
Yeah.
They're still the same object. You just move them around. Okay. Now it's real hard to do the who's lonely game when both sides have two things.
You just do the ones without the y's
I want the y's where?
on that side. On the left.
I want my variables on the left with inequalities. So how do I get that y to the left side? Add a y. Add a y. 6 y's plus another y. 7 y's. Negative 6, I haven't touched yet. And negative y plus y is 0. You see how I show all the steps. Now, I only got one thing on the right side, so I play the who's lonely game.
What happened to the 8?
I put these two together. I said 8 minus 14 was a negative 6. I will subtract 10 from both sides, playing the who's lonely game. This says plus 10, I subtract 10. Again, I'll show this is 0. This hasn't changed, so I just drop it. It's a little hot. Negative 6 minus 10.
Negative 16.
Yes, sir. You owe me $6, you borrow another 10. You now owe me 16. Okay, don't freak out. I'm just moving this up so I got room for another line. Womp. Okay. One last thing. Where at? Where at? No, hold up.
No, I'm lost with all of
Okay, then. Okay, I heard the congregation say divide by 7.
Yes.
Funny. You got a decimal, and I got a negative 16/7.
Oh, Oh, so it just goes straight to that.
You leave it as a fraction. But if you try to write that decimal right now, doesn't it go forever? If you try to cut any part of that decimal off, if you try to round your answer, you're losing part of your answer. Yes, sir.
You flip the sign only when the bottom number. Yeah.
That is a good question. It's when I multiply by a negative, when I divide by a negative.
You're supposed to be the smart one.
Yep. If the smart thing is to ask a question. The phallic move is to try to bag on someone for doing the right thing. If I have a negative 16 over 7, see if you can reduce it. Okay, if you're using the bumblebees in this room, you need to know how to use the calculator. Everyone find the button that says alpha.
Alpha.
Green button, alpha. Unless you have your own calculator and you've got your own fraction stuff. If you're on the bumblebees, alpha, hit the y equals in the top left corner. The very first option is fraction, box over box. Hit enter.
There's an alpha.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my own.
Alpha.
No, you don't have that because you don't have the bumblebees.
Alpha.
Yours should have like an ABC button. Yes. So you would just hit 16 ABC 7.
Alpha y equals
Enter. Because you want the first one. And it'll bring up a box. Over a box.
You know, I really could use.
No. Bud. 2 underscore 2 7.
No, half L.
That's
That's what my calculator says.
okay. Like this. That's saying 2 and 2 sevenths, which we know is 14 plus 2, 16 sevenths. Right above that in the secondary feature, stop. Hit your green second button. Hit that ABC button again.
16. I don't know.
16 sevenths.
Why is just what's an L cut in half?
Because it can't do a fraction box. That's ancient technology, dude. That's the same crystalline screen as a watch. They can only light up the crystals where they put them. So they got to do stuff like that. Okay. That was a good one to choose, Kevin, because it had the nasty fraction answer. You just leave it like that, yo?
You just leave it as.
Yes, improper fractions are actually lazy math. You just leave it like that. Okay. Let the dice decide your fate.
It's gonna be me.
12.
I think that is me.
That is Riley.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Yes, sir.
You good?
I called it. You see me call it? Yeah. That time travels.
Number 8 has decimals. That's okay. We can deal with it. Put that line down the middle, very first thing. And ask. I'm going to do this 2 different ways. Go get a drink.
Or is there an easier way?
I want you to just start by telling me what you want to do. And that will be one way, and then I'll do it the other way. So, do you want your variables on the left, or do you want to play the Who's Lonely game? Okay, who's lonely? Okay. Who needs to go over there? Y's go with Y's, right? So minus 7.3Y, minus 7.3Y. Womp. Y'all notice when I put that 0 there, when I zero out the number, I haven't removed the sign in front of 14.4. That's because the sign is still with it. It travels as a negative 14.4. All right, you got a calculator with you. What's 4.9 minus 7.3?
Negative 2.4.
Thank you.
I'm just one.
Okay. It's all right, dude. Just write the thing. You're fine. Okay, so Riley said, play the Who's Lonely game just like it was back in the day. All right, if I still want my y by itself, that negative 2.4 is over there with the y. What is it doing to y? It is multiplying, so we will divide. Yes. Divide this by negative 2.4. Divide this by negative 2.4. Okay. Micah, Dylan, you were both you were on this page about this. What am I going to do now?
Divide.
I divided. What do I do with my inequality?
Switch. You gotta flip it.
Because I divided by a negative. So Pac-Man flips. This is 1. This is positive. Y'all got a calculator?
6.
Just a 6? Nothing else? Cool. You notice when we got to the end, though, my variable's on the wrong side. Okay? Like you're flipping a grilled cheese. Stick the spatula under it. Flop the whole thing. Make sure Pac-Man is still eating Y, not 6.
Oh, I just noticed the negative.
So you flop it. Pac-Man still eats Y, then 6. Okay? Just like you're flopping a grilled cheese. I don't know. I'm nicer to my burgers. Grilled cheese, I smack. Grilled cheese gets smacked on the griddle. So, okay. Now, I want you to count how many steps there were. Subtract, divide, flip. Okay? I want to show you, if I do this a different way, is it still the 3 steps? Okay, I want to show you. You got it? Okay.
You could do a different way, have more steps, but if you want it, you can have it.
The other way says, aren't my variables supposed to be on the left? I'll get the graph on this one.
Wait, that's technically a right. Since you forgot to do
No,
No.
because I'm going to do the problem again.
What?
I'm doing the problem again a different way. I've said this 4 times now. All right.
Okay.
The other way is I need my variables on the left. What if I subtracted 4.9y at the beginning? This is where that divider line comes in real handy and keeps us from screwing things up. Now this is still 2.4. This is still negative 14.4. What's 4.9y minus 4.9y?
1.
5 minus 5.
Why did I think of
2 minus 2. Oh,
What is wrong with you?
brain fart. It happens. Deal with it.
This was like
Okay. Here's the problem. You see where my dividing line is?
Yeah.
I will see kids year after year
I do the same thing.
But because they didn't put that divider line in their problem, they'll subtract this, nothing is left over here, so they just act like, well, I'm supposed to have things on both sides, so I'll just move this. And they don't realize that if you said it out loud, so I'll just move this, is illegal in math. Okay? Yes, throw the flag. Okay. So that is not legal. What is 4.9y minus 4.9y? That is perfectly legal. Something minus itself is 0. 0 is still a number. I can have stuff as greater than 0. Don't you want by the end of your job, you want your savings to be greater than 0?
I'd hope so.
Okay. Unless you're a typical impulsive teenager and you just spend it all. Okay. All right. So now, if you remember that 0 is a number, who's lonely? So add 14.4. And you start to see the same numbers pop up. 2.4 is multiplying y. I'm going to divide. I want you to count off the steps. I subtracted, I added, I divided. It was still 3 steps. What I want you to get out of this is that it doesn't matter what order you do things in. So long as you follow math law, we still got to y is greater than 6. Now we do still need to put our open circle at 6, to the right. Okay. But it was still 3 steps. Yeah. I mean, there's... Okay. I've done 4. Bummer. I have done 4. There are 8 left.
Wait, we did 3. Oh, yeah.
4.
The rest are yours. You have 3 teachers in here to help you with them. Don't just stare at it.
Do we have to do these ones? That way you do
No.
6 and we. So can I cross it
No.
out or are we going to do that later?
Leave them because we will come back to them later.
Alright.
Okay? We are not doing the word problems on the bottom. That's actually how we're going to start the next class.
If we work, can we do this in like partners? Like if me and Gavin do it, but we like actually work. Can we do these questions, the rest of these questions together?
Someone made a call. Prove them right. Someone made a call. Prove it right. Go.
Can I go fill this up real quick?
Yes.
Thank you, Micah. Thank you.
No problem.